Welcome to your Wall Pass Wednesday. John Nelson here with you on SDH AM. Guests are going to be, as we always have them on Wednesdays. Tyler Pilgrim is going to join us in about 10 minutes from Scarves and Spikes. We'll talk about everything Atlanta United and anything else going on in Tyler's mind, in Tyler's world. I think Dax McCarty is going to be joining them again tonight on the night show, and so we'll keep an eye on that. Dylan Butler from MLSsoccer.com going to join us at 10 o'clock. We got to talk cup sets. We got to talk about Champions League. We got to get you ready with the juice boxes and see how many cup sets are on the board. We told you about one cup set yesterday. And it happened. Tacoma, late, going up against Oakland Roots. Roots has stumbled out of the blocks. We figured that one might be one, and it was. So we got one right. So we'll go over what happened last night. We'll get you ready for what's going to happen today, and we'll roll through in the morning from 10:30 on. We'll get you prepped for everything going on. All right. So no live soccer. Yesterday we were up at Lassiter for a quick ad to the Flex scheduling. It was great to see everybody up there at Lassiter. They have my tablet because I left it in the press box. That's the kind of night it was. 3 bags over, it was 2 suitcases and a bag over my shoulder, and I left my tablet in the press box at Frank. Thanks to Coach Penny for taking a picture of it and saying, "Is this John's?" Yes, it's John's. And so that's where my tablet is, and I've got to go get it tomorrow. I can't get it today. I'll get it tomorrow. So no live action tonight, but soccer's in session at noon. Aaron Paul from Morgan County is going to join us. We'll go through all the brackets that we know, go through the scoreboard rankings as we have them, and get you ready for everything going on here. Middle of the last week of the regular season when it comes to high school soccer. We'll go through everything in the GHSA and get you prepped for everything there. That's at noon. Soccer's in session, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Let's see. Tomorrow it'll be Jason up at Southeast Whitfield and Dalton. Maddie and I Friday will be at the Battle for the Troops, Stars Mill, and McIntosh. And so it's going to be a busy next couple of days as we get you ready for the playoffs. We're going to get prepped for the playoffs and all those kinds of things. So we'll let you know what's going on. Soccer's in sessions at noon, and we'll break it all down right there for you. Okay, so we're going to start with some news, and I'm not going to do the breaking news sounder because of the nature of this news. And I first found it from our friend of the show, Laurel Failer, up in Cincinnati. And it has to do with Aaron Bupenza. And Aaron Bupenza passed away after falling from his 11th floor apartment in China. Turkey Today is where Laurel came up with this, where Laurel found the story. And I'm just going to read you what they produced as of very, very early this morning, because if it was 12:38 Turkey time, so it was it's middle of the night our time here on the East Coast. So here's how it was presented by our friends at Turkey Today. Previously played for Hatayspor, top scorer in the 2021 Super League season, died at the age of 28 after falling from the 11th floor of his apartment building in China. The Gabonese striker, currently playing for Chinese Super League club Zhejiang FC, reportedly fell from his residence. Authorities have launched an investigation and are treating the case as suspicious. According to reports, Chinese police are pursuing 3 possible scenarios: suicide, accidental fall, and homicide. It is noted that Bupenza's brother was present in the apartment at the time of the incident, and the two had reportedly been involved in an argument. Investigators are examining whether the altercation may have led to Bupenza being pushed. His brother is expected to be questioned or taken into custody as a part of the inquiry. Bupenza had missed his team's most recent training session without explanation, and Zhejiang FC officials stated they were unable to contact him before receiving news of his death. They have not. Chinese authorities have not yet released an official cause of death. The investigation remains ongoing. Death was confirmed by Romanian manager Marius Shamudichka, who previously coached Bupenza, shared a message of condolence on social media. Bupenza played for CF Munana, Bordeaux, Po, Ajaccio, Tours, Firenze, Al-Arabi, Al-Shabaab, FC Cincinnati, Rapid Bucharest, and most recently, Zhejiang FC. And FC Cincinnati came out with a statement this morning, and it was, it was once again just a quick condolence from them. The statement from FC Cincinnati: Quote, we were saddened to hear of the tragic passing of former FC Cincinnati forward Aaron Bupenza earlier today at his home in China. Our hearts go out to his family, friends, and teammates. He was a loved member of the FC Cincinnati family, and we offer our condolences to all who knew him. Rest in peace, Aaron. So that came from FC Cincinnati at 12 minutes to the hour. So about 20 minutes ago was when the statement was released by FC Cincinnati, and that's what we know currently about Aaron Bupenza. Yeah. KFC apparently fell from his 11th floor apartment in China, and his brother is being questioned about the circumstances surrounding it. And so the Chinese authorities have 3 theories, and they're going to be working on those 3 theories. But Aaron Bupenza passing away from a fall from his 11th floor apartment in China this morning at the age of 28. And so obviously we'll keep an eye on that. So there's your early news on the MLS front. And no, it's and not the kind of news that you want to start the day with, but it was something that was incredibly shocking that came across our desk very, very early this morning. And so we figured that we would let you guys know, and because we all come up with our information from different places, didn't know if you knew, and so I figured I would go ahead and start the show with that this morning. So I guess technically that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So that's the first news out of the blocks this morning. Once again, thanks to everybody yesterday at Lassiter for helping us out there with high school, and we're gonna give you as big and best of a run as humanly possible when it comes to everything going for high school. We'll take you all the way up to the finals, and we'll let you know what's going on there. And but yeah, so we'll keep you posted on the news out of Cincinnati and give you any updates. And obviously, we'll keep an eye on things, and we'll keep in touch with our friend Laurel Failer when she knows, and we'll find out if there's any advancement of the storyline there when it comes to Aaron Bupenza and his passing at the age of 28. So, Michael, I'm going to save your question for Tyler. I'm going to save your question for when Tyler comes in a couple of minutes. So the rundown today, once again, we had some cup sets late last night. All the cup sets were in the West Coast, and in the Midwest, I think you can include Union Omaha as a cup set, knocking off San Antonio FC. So Union Omaha beat San Antonio FC 1-0. Upsets, cup sets late. Like I said, we'll go over the grid, and tomorrow morning, while we are going on in the 9 o'clock hour, is when the draw is going to happen for the next round. I think it's the official round of 32. And so we'll let you know what's going on there as it's happening here in hour number 1. Tomorrow, hour number 2, tomorrow's the Power Hour with Nino and Nico. And once again, we'll get you ready for Southeast Whitfield and Dalton. And then on Friday, it's Stars Mill and McIntosh. And see if we can catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30. And then get you ready. We're still efforting Dave Leno, by the way, from Philadelphia. And there we'll get the intel and the info from the opposite. It's oppo research, I think is what the political science term was. It's opposition research. And so we've started doing that this year. And thanks to everybody who's been reaching out and helping out so far with that. We ain't done. I'm just saying that that's what we started doing this year with opposition research. And so it'll be an opportunity for all of us to get smart and find out what's going on in and around the entire planet when it comes to Major League Soccer. Okay. Wow. Man, it's already 9:15. Got it. Literally, it's like you run one story and you preview the day, and then all of a sudden it's 9:15. So it's time to bring in Tyler, and we'll find out what the mug is, what's in the mug, and what else he has to promote, in addition to talk about Atlanta United. What's up, dude?
Hey, that was perfect. We didn't even talk about this. I have a new mug.
Oh?
Slightly different. It's a Scarves and Spikes mug.
Oh yeah,
but it's the new, like, the community logo, right? So, like, we have it on a bunch of the new merch. So,
okay. Well, yeah. We have coffee mugs available. I just don't drink coffee, so.
Which you need to change.
Oh no!
You could drink Mountain Dew out of a coffee mug.
Oh, well, I could certainly do that and promote the Evan to Living Daylights out of the SDH Network coffee mugs. I could do that. I just can't drink coffee out of a coffee mug because I've never been a fan of flavored brown water that's hot. That you have to
when you put it like that.
when you continue to throw things into it, oh, I like my coffee black, and then it literally just tastes like really, really hot brown water and whatever
Bean juice.
yeah, so it's just no, it doesn't happen for me. I look, I was the same way with other things, and it's just like, no, this does not taste good to me. And then if you have to add, and I know that this, Jason is probably turning over right now. It's like his ears just perked up. His ears are burning because I'm going to mention the idea about food. I like food that is naturally flavored, and if you have to add things to it, then it's kind of counterintuitive to why you purchase that particular item of food in the first place. It's like, look, if I can go out back to the grill and take the grill cover off if it hasn't already been torn to shreds by the blanking squirrels here in the neighborhood, which we've had 2 sacrificed to the squirrel gods because they wanted to get somehow into the grill space. So we've had 2 grill covers. That's worse than that. 2 grill covers that have been completely and totally torched. So if I'm at the grill on the lanai, and I have one of those rather large, fillets or something that's inch thick and completely and totally long or whatever. If I haven't done, or if the manufacturer of said piece of beef hasn't done a good enough job, that particular piece that is on the grill doesn't sit on its own merit, and you have to continue to add things and add things and add things, then what was the adding things is too labor intensive for me. Just give me something. If it's basic, it works, it's great, you've done it right.
Yeah, I have questions though. I have a couple of questions here.
Sure.
Do you don't do like salt, like just the basic salt and pepper on a steak?
No, I not after it's the boss will put rub on
No,
it.
I mean like while you're cooking it.
No. No, boss will put rub on it for marinate, and that's about it.
Okay, well that's adding stuff though. So you do season it, so it's seasoned. It's marinade.
I marinate, but I don't add.
Okay, no, okay, I get that. Like a good steak, you shouldn't have to go add like A1 or
Right,
whatever after the fact. That's
right.
yeah, don't do that. That's not
Yeah.
good.
No, I mean, and by the way, there's a very dear friend of mine who is a high school football coach now in the state of Alabama, was a great football coach here in the state of Georgia. I know it shocks you that in South Georgia, I know high school football coaches,
All right.
but he had his own marinade, and it literally took him almost 15 years to perfect it. And it is spicy, it is off the charts, and he said he wasn't happy with it. He kept playing with it for, like, almost 15 years before he got it right, and it is tremendous, and we have some of it, and so that's, like, our default marinade is that, or the default rub is what he will put and what he'll give us. He literally, he's like, "You're the only person north of the gnat line that I give this to," and it's a container that's about that big, and, it's got his rub in it and everything, but no, I can't.
So is it a dry rub? Or is it
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
okay.
dry rub.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same way. Like I'll do a certain dry rub, but a lot of times I'll just do salt and pepper. I made one the other day though. You have to try this. I'll give you the recipe.
Okay.
It's called an antiquated coffee rub.
Okay,
Which I
so
know I'm literally telling the wrong person this right now because you're like, I don't like coffee.
well, but everybody else here does, as you've seen in the Twitch pitch. So
Yeah.
please proceed.
It is. So it's like whatever, flavor. I mean, you just use coffee grounds, but whatever type of coffee you want to use. And then you mix that with I have to get the whole thing. Obviously, a little bit of salt, a tiny little bit of cayenne pepper for heat, thyme, and a little bit of oregano. And there's a couple other things. Anyway, mix it all together. You coat the whole steak in it, and then you cook it like you would a normal steak. I don't know how you like your steak. Medium rare to me.
Medium rare, right there.
I made some the other day. I'll send you some videos. It came out and it was one of the best things I've ever had.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Even if you don't like coffee, like you get the coffee, like do you like the smell of coffee?
No.
Okay. Well, God, you're hard to please, John.
This is a shock to you?
I mean, there's a lot of people that like the smell and they're just like, I don't drink it, but I do like the smell. So I guess you're in that other category.
I
Just
just
ate it all.
I was like, I don't drink it. It's just like the smell. It doesn't fire me up in the morning. I can't sit there and go over a cup. The boss probably could, but
So when we do the grilling day,
yeah,
I will leave off the coffee rub and I'll cook you a different steak.
okay, yeah. Literally, it's like you're over here. It's like Nelson, you're either first or last. We're getting rid of you, or you're waiting to the very end while everybody
I
else is sampling.
take special requests. It's okay.
I
I have
see.
no problem with that.
Yeah, I see how this works. Question out of the blocks from Michael Head this morning. Before I get into how the SNS folks and all of your audience in our Atlanta United Informational Journalistic Exchange program are taking what has happened here to the start of the season, Michael out of the blocks this morning on in the Twitch pitch, he said, "Quote: So sad this season has the markings of another disappointment. When will questions about Garth start?" And my answer to that is not anytime soon, I don't think.
No, I agree. I think so. I wrote a piece yesterday and kind of broke down because I think everybody wants somebody to blame, which is normal. I mean, and I kind of broke it down to, it's coaching staff, players, front office. And then I even put in the article, like there is that fourth option that nobody wants to hear, that like soccer is just a stupid game. And sometimes it just doesn't play out the way that you think it will.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you are doing all the things mostly right on paper.
Yeah.
To me, at this point, the front office is the least of the concern. I think when you go back and you look at Garth's entire time in Atlanta, it took a long time, and this is by his own admission. It took a long time to basically un-F a lot of the things that were effed. I mean,
So all right. So is that a hyphenated verb to
yeah,
something?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a character in there.
Yeah. Please proceed.
And he said, like, I remember him telling us, I think it was for the Chris Henderson press conference after the actual conference was over. He said, when you're looking at a job in a front office in soccer, you kind of have an idea of like what the books look like, but you can't have that information, the full information, until you're actually a part of the organization, because a lot of that stuff is privileged. And he said, so I had an idea, but then when I actually got here, I looked at the books and I had to do almost a double take. Like I was completely floored at how much needed to be done to fix a lot of the contracts and things that were in the way. So, everybody's favorite guy to blame was Carlos Bocanegra, and that has, that scapegoat, whatever you want to call him, went away in the summer last year. And so from the summer on, that's the time that you're really looking at it being all Garth. And then if you want to really pin it down, I mean, the time that he's actually gotten his group together has been in this offseason. So, I mean, yeah, look, everybody has a part to play here for sure. But I don't think that the majority of the players that Garth has brought in can't do better than what they're doing right now. I think he's got the foundation pieces. Not every signing in soccer is going to be a hit. Like that's impossible. As good as your track record is, you're going to have some bumps. But I would argue that it's not even so much that you have a ton of bumps in the players that are here. I think it's just the players aren't performing at the way that they need to be at this point in time.
And obviously, I know that with your program expansion this year, you guys have started doing stuff Sunday night when SNS is in play, and you're trying to get the initial reaction, and then we kind of let things marinate on Sunday, and everybody gets to catch their breath a little bit, then get it off your chest on Monday and Tuesday. Then you come in on Wednesday, and we get wave number 2 before you guys have your evening show. What has been the progression, I guess, or has it been fairly static? Has there been a bell curve in the progression of reaction and then reaction round number 2 as we get here to Wednesday, or has it been fairly straight line from the result against the Revs to where we are now?
I mean, I think it's been less bell curvy than normal. I think it's been, relatively static. I think there's been definitely that period of like just disappointed, pissed off, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Michael's other comment, and this is the stat that's been going around, Garth's organization has the worst start in club history, which is absolutely true. And that's, like on Sunday we had our show, and I was very disappointed. Like as a fan, it's frustrating to look at the way this team has started and be okay with it. And again, as far as responsibility is concerned, I think there's plenty to go around. There's plenty of blame to go around. But I will always fall back on MLS being a league that if you can freaking figure it out, and Atlanta needs, like, they need to get their head out of the rear end. They really do. Like, if we're being honest, you can't keep, going on about like the chemistry. No, chemistry's not going to be perfect 8 games in, but it needs to be a lot better. It needs to be netting you goals considering how much money you spent, for sure. So there's definitely like, that bit of responsibility, and the fans have a right to be frustrated. But if they can get it right, whatever tweak has to happen, whatever thing needs to come good at some point sooner than later, hopefully, they can still go and have a successful season. I mean, again, in that article I wrote yesterday, I explicitly mentioned, like, it's not time to throw the season away yet. You could have a crappy start to the season, but everybody's going to go back and look at 2018, whether for good or bad. You have 2018, that was that season that will always live in infamy at this point for Atlanta United, where it was just a pretty good season overall. Like, there was never really a moment, maybe you could argue slightly in the summer, where there was a couple of losses and draws, whatever, but it was pretty good overall. There was never really like a downtime. It's not that common for teams, like maybe 1 or 2 teams a season, if you're lucky, have that kind of consistently good season. There's usually, I mean, look at the Red Bulls who made it last year, to the championship. They weren't really good in the regular season.
Well,
But
I mean,
then,
it's amazing. Well, when you don't have Emil Forsberg for 2 months of time
right.
to see what the difference is, they were third with him. Then they were awful without him, only I think winning 3. You get him back in time for the playoffs. You have a formation change, and then you make the run.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you can get it right at the right time, then that's all that matters. So, and then what you look at after that is what we did in the playoffs a success? And a lot of the other stuff goes out the window. So that's not to say that you shouldn't be shooting for a consistently good season. I think that's what everybody wants, because obviously the goal here is top 4 and then beyond. But you've hit a lot of stumbling blocks early on, and you just need to shake it off. And I'll go back again to what Ronnie Dyla said, and he said it multiple times, but in the most recent press conference after the game, he would be more concerned if they weren't at least creating chances and getting into the final third. Like, Atlanta is doing a good job. It's just once they get there, the decision-making is a little suspect,
That,
I
and you end
think.
up with a couple of different defenders known as posts and crossbars too.
Yeah, that too. 5. They've hit the post 5 times this season already, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yes. So I mean, it's I think that, and Abe and I have this discussion when we do full time report. It's like that you're trying to sit there, and it's like, well, we don't get the impression that this is an automobile that has had the engine drop, the transmission go, the oil's all over the place, the hood is up, the tires have come completely and totally off, and you got to try to figure out how to make the lap back so you can get back into the pits. It doesn't seem like the car is that way. It's just that if you have that, you get that one goal. Literally, I think that at some points, I think that this is also a confidence issue, because if one thing bad happens, it's like our buddy Shane Falco in the discussion about quicksand. It's like one bad thing happens, then another, then another, then another. But if you have that one good thing happen, then it's proven to yourself that, oh, hey, look, something good can happen if what we're doing can be applied. You go forward, you have the one good thing, the next good thing, and the next good thing. I don't think that right now this is a club that literally is feeling like Schlepprock from the Flintstones, where you got the gray cloud hanging over, and talking like Droopy Dog. It's like, hello. So, no, I don't get that vibe from this group, and the fact that we played the Noah Cobb interview that we had that was in the full time report, and to have someone like Noah who he'll tell you what he thinks.
Yeah.
No,
Yes, he will.
Noah's not one to mince words, and Noah's fired up about it. If someone like Noah wasn't fired up, if Noah was just kind of okay, whatever. Someone who traditionally is fired up and he's just kind of like, I would feel differently about this group than I do about this group because of the reactions that we're getting and what they're telling us each and every single time out.
Yeah, I mean, and another one that I think maybe tries to keep a little more of a level head, at least externally, is Brooks Lennon, and he was one of the ones that we talked with in the locker room the other day.
Yeah.
You could tell he was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell he's pissed, but he does a very good job of just trying to, he's wanting to be the leader. He's wanting to kind of be that guy that the younger guys look up to. But
he's being leader diplomatic is what he's being.
Very diplomatic, yeah. But you could tell he's irritated, and of course there was the conversation, between him and then of course Ronnie Dylan in the press conference where it was mentioned the thing about we can't start blaming each other, which I thought was odd. I put the tweet out about it, not to fuel like a fire. I just was like, to have the almost verbatim thing said, in two different instances, very close together in time. It's not like they had another chance to go talk about this. Like it seems like that was definitely a theme of some sort. So I think like there definitely is some frustration amongst the players, just in the sense that like I think it probably to them feels like they're banging their head against a wall, and it just like it's not coming together the way they want to, because you can see it. Like I said a minute ago, and like Dyla said, like you're doing almost everything right.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting into the final third. You're creating opportunities. It's just the freaking ball's not going in, and that's soccer at times. But when you couple that with, the kind of years of up and down roller coaster, maybe mediocrity, whatever,
Yeah.
the fans are getting very impatient. And then when you hear the things like, well, they're doing almost everything right, then that starts to sound like an excuse as opposed to something that could really be a positive. And if it is a positive, you're not 2020 FC Cincinnati, like you're doing a lot of the things right. Defensively, you've gotten better. Like you're not seeing the same kind of silly mistakes that kind of were the hallmark of the team the first 4 or 5 games. Even the New England goal. I mean, it was a very soft foul given just at the box. I mean, we can go on and on about it, but you're doing better in that regard. Your coach, in my opinion, I know this has been kind of a point of contention. I think he's making the right changes in games to counter, kind of what teams are doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like you've got things to look forward to, but at the end of the day, this game is all about wins. It's all about hitting the back of the net, especially considering how much money you spend on the attack. And if that's not happening, then fans are going to get tired of it.
Yeah, I would venture to say that some are already tired of it, considering the pressure of expectation, and I mean, and the pressure of expectation for Atlanta United as a franchise goes back to a championship, and it goes back to Julian Gressel not stepping out on Nick DeLeon the following year, and you're that close to back-to-back appearances in the last game of the year, and odds are you probably would have won back-to-back championships if you don't have that incident happen in year number 2 going up against Toronto FC. So I think that you have this the level of expectation dating to the star that's above your crest, and you're wanting that same kind of consistency, and in a cap league, that is a challenge because of everything that you have to navigate. Of course, you could talk to the folks in Fort Lauderdale about cap and navigating that, and that's an entirely different thing. But did I say that out loud? Yeah, you heard something, and then
I heard a whisper come through.
You're kind of fuzzy. So I think that you're looking at a 7-year level of expectation, and the difficulty of having to navigate it with everything that that Major League Soccer presents in front of you for a front office. And we've seen it in other sports where, with salary caps, if you don't do things, if you're not hitting it right, see, Saints, New Orleans, you could have a boatload of cap space. You could be well over the cap, and you having problems, and it's hard to navigate all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think the pressure of expectations in a cap league where you're having to sit there and try to figure things out, consistency is an issue from beginning to end here.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to the car analogy, like I guess I kind of look at it as and maybe because I always try to look at the optimistic side of things, even though I mean I'm just as irritated as anybody else.
Yeah,
Um, you go buy a new car,
sure.
or let's say a certified pre-owned car because
Okay,
we're at, man.
so yeah, we could talk about a Nissan Murano that I had a couple years ago, but yeah, continue. I think I know where you're going.
But I mean, you pull off the lot, and in that last dealer check or whatever, like somebody forgot to put the oil cap back on, somebody forgot to put the radiator cap back on. There's stuff leaking out as soon
Somebody
as you
didn't
pull
tell
out
you
into the
what
road.
was wrong with the car in and of itself when you drove it off the lot as
Yeah.
a purchased as is. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, okay, that would be maybe slightly different, but like there's nothing inherently, I think, wrong with the car. Somebody just forgot to tighten something down a little bit and get it back exactly where it needs to be in road condition,
Mhm.
right? Like it's not that they forgot to tighten the lug nuts on the wheels and the wheels are about to fall off as soon as you pull out. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's just, you know, somebody didn't get their head screwed on right that morning and forgot to, take a specific step to get things exactly where they need to be.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now you have a very inconvenient moment, a block down from the dealership. And then you go, all right, you can rewind it back.
Mm-hmm.
You can scream at them for a minute, have them fix it, and then come back out. And now you've got a nice, nifty, somewhat brand new ride to go enjoy the rest of your way home.
No,
I don't know.
no,
I see you have a little bit of PTSD from something.
no. Two cars ago, bought the Nissan Murano that I didn't have for a year. First and foremost, full disclosure, my mechanic warned me about picking up this particular kind of automobile, and especially in the year range that I picked it up in.
Okay.
And so it fit my budget, and I was like, okay, we need a different kind of automobile, and went and purchased this particular automobile. And it was an as-is purchase, but the salesman didn't say, okay, well, we didn't do any diagnostic work or repair or look under the hood or anything like that. Literally, it was turnkey. It was as is. It's like, oh, here's a Nissan Murano. Okay, fine. Then we'll sell this Nissan Murano. They didn't do anything under the hood to sit there and say, well, you might kind of look at this. You might look at this. You might look at this. About what? 8 months in was when it started having driving issues, and it had $3,000 worth of repairs after the first round of driving issues by my mechanic. And then it didn't last a year because the same issues resurrected themselves. And so I basically dropped 11 grand on an on an as is car. So I would recommend, first and foremost, don't do that. So 8 grand in the purchase, 3 grand in the repairs. The thousands of dollars that I spent on the car equaled the number of months I had the car.
That's amazing.
And I literally sold it for scrap and contacted the dealership. And I'm like, this is the worst experience I've ever had. And you guys need to change your policy. And they called me back and they're like, well, you could have told us about this stuff. I'm like, it was an as-is purchase. What would have been different about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
So don't do an as-is purchase ever on an automobile. I don't care how gorgeous it is, how it fits your budget. Doesn't matter. Don't do it.
Your Nissan Murano sounds like more like CF Montreal than Atlanta United.
Oh, gosh. It was just, well, actually, it was Wooden Spoon FC Cincinnati.
There we go. All right.
And yes, Michael knows the story because the dealer was a family friend.
Is he still a family friend?
No. No, it was family had purchased from this particular dealership for like decades. And they go to the salesman at the dealership that was the salesman that they had dealt with forever, first name basis, came by in the holidays when he was in town, all that kind of stuff. So, yes, the dealership was Yeah, dealer was a family. The car salesman was a family friend. Dealership was something he dealt with for decades, and I didn't get a lemon. I got the whole blanket orchard. So,
So sorry that this happened to you.
well, so is my bank account.
Yeah,
I
that sucks.
I could have thoroughly enjoyed, the $3,000 that I didn't spend on repairs that did virtually nothing. I literally, when it died the second time after the first round of repairs, I don't know how many, and this is story time with John, I guess. So I don't know how many folks are familiar with 185, I-185 when you're driving from Atlanta, you're heading down to Columbus. You're heading southbound on I-85 on 185, and you're just north of town. There's a rest stop that is just north of Columbus City. And I literally had to keep the car there and go in and tell the attendant for the rest stop, look, I'm not parking the car and going someplace and coming back. It's dead. If you try to move it, you can't. I'm coming to get a wrecker here to get this car and sent over to someplace here locally where I can sell it for scrap. Literally, I use like my AAA pickup
Dang.
to go get this car, move it 7 miles to go to the scrap yard, and they looked at it like, yeah, this is beyond any kind of hope. And so, literally, it was wave the white flag. If I sell it to you for scrap, how much do I get? I think it was like $400.
Dang, dude.
So $11,000 investment, $400 on the return, written off on the taxes, and gee, that was fun. That is not what Atlanta United is currently going through right now. That is not what the fan base is going through right now. That is Yop Stom FC Cincinnati kind of wooden spoon car.
Yeah.
That is not what's going on here to try and steer the conversation back to what we're actually talking about in soccer instead of PTSD with bad automobile.
I hate cars.
Yes, Rich, it was the same car that was this was the car that was bought. That was where the dealership was. The dealership was attached to the boss's family and close to their town in Alabama. Yes, it was an Alabama purchased car. Don't make an Alabama joke, but it was an Alabama purchased automobile.
But I won't.
Yes, no, that's so that's what. Yes, so that's so yeah. So this is not. Yeah, this is not a situation where it's everything is falling down, the car is falling apart, and it's like the Bluesmobile at the end of the Blues Brothers outside the Cook County Assessor's office. No, that is not where Atlanta United is right now.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Now that you're all riled up, sure you don't want any coffee?
I got this, brother. That's why I keep. I'm good to go. When you look at the players that have. I'm not going to say surprised, but who might have been who might have been unexpected positive markers so far for you to this point of the season. Who has shown out for you as someone? Oh, I didn't anticipate that, or oh, I didn't expect that so far this season.
Tristan Muyumba.
Okay.
I think is the easy one. I think just, especially after hearing his kind of like, I don't want to say backstory, but his in-between story going from 2024 to 2025.
Yeah.
Where he talked about, he literally had I'm going to go sit under the, sakura petals in Japan and meditate and figure out things and then come back as a much stronger person kind of deal. He said, he did a lot of reflection. He took a lot of walks. He said he talked to his family and the people around him, and just, 2024 wasn't what he wanted. And I mean, I don't think it was what most of any of Atlanta United wanted except for the playoff run, but it was a struggle for Muyumba last year, especially coming off 2023 when he got here and he was like on fire. So then this year to see him come in and be, much more of a ball winner, to be, also to come back. I forgot he had an injury this year already and he came back so quickly from it and didn't really skip a beat, so I think it's nice to see him playing with confidence. I was unsure how he would do, right? Because it seems like a coin toss when you have a player that kind of drops in confidence and drops in like their just overall play, whether or not they're going to come back strong or not. And he has done it. And I think besides him, another one, maybe not so much of a surprise, but just like a I don't know. It's just pleasant to see is Matt Edwards. And I think it's also because, starting the season, he got thrown into the fire
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And he made mistakes. And he's not going to argue that. He knows he made mistakes, but he's learned from the mistakes. And then he comes out and, of course, you go back to the New York City game when he came on, the changes were made that kind of facilitated the comeback. But I mean, he looked really good there. He looked comfortable. And I like to see his progression. Um, and then my other one, I guess I'm giving you three. I know you asked for one.
No. I just said whom. I didn't specific. I didn't.
That's true. You didn't give me a number.
No.
I got to give him another shout to Will Riley. Again, not you haven't seen him much, but I think for folks that don't typically pay attention to like maybe the college side of things and then the two side of things and all that, like you probably saw Will Riley play a couple of matches ago and we're like, wow, this dude is what's up. He has an attitude. He's got a little bit of edge to him. He is way better under pressure than I think anybody would give him credit for. And it was just refreshing to see. I thought it was really nice to see kind of how he stepped out with so much confidence.
And I think where Tristan is concerned, I think that, you sit under the tree of reflection and you become one with the individual that you'd like to be. And then you come back and you're seeing the imagination from Tristan. I mean, I'll go back to the ball over the top when it created the penalty chance.
Yep.
And and I think at heart, I think that Tristan's a point guard. I think he's that point guard. He wants to be the offensive guy, and he wants to. I think everybody's got a piece of striker in him too. So, but I think that you're seeing this version of Tristan Muyumba who knows, okay, I know I can be a solid point guard and facilitate things going forward, but at the same time, I know that my demand from my head coach is that I'm going to have to clock it, 4.5 or 5 miles and come back on defense, be a part of that back line, be a part of the rush to make sure that nothing happens. So you're seeing that. I think you're seeing that the Tristan Muyumba that was there at the start when he first showed up with, okay, I want to be engaged offensively. I know I've got to come back defensively, and you're seeing that he can be there on both sides of the ball for you.
Yeah, I asked him last week about midfielders controlling the tempo, and because I think that was kind of my biggest complaint with the coming off the Dallas game was just, Atlanta obviously wants to be an attacking oriented team. Great, no problem with that at all. But there are times when you have to kind of, pump the brakes a little bit and settle into the game, especially after subs and things like that. And he said, we want to be playing entirely in the opponent's half, which is that's great on paper, especially. It's really great. But when things aren't going your way, then that's when the midfielders kind of have to step in and say, all right, well, we're going to keep possession a little bit. We're going to play through and around the pressure that's coming at us. And I think Muyumba has been getting better at that overall this year. I think it's not perfect yet. I think there's definitely some moments where maybe the decision making, just kind of in those kind of like quick bang bang moments, could be a little bit better. But it's like leaps and bounds better than it was last year. And to your point, yeah, I mean, I think he wants to be up there. He wants to be pushing. He wants to be fighting. I mean, you've seen him take the occasional shot this year. He's been practicing after training with Latte Lath, with Miggy, with Saba, like just taking shots at Brad and Cohen and just trying to get like those strikes in. So, I mean, I think it's just maybe he's becoming a little bit more of a well-rounded, or I don't want to say reverting back to a more well-rounded because that makes it sound like, there was like a really big problem and I want to give him more credit than that. So but it is nice to see that whatever it is, it's that confidence I think that he's rebuilding. And I do think it's a struggle maybe for him sometimes to just be that like number 6, be more defensive oriented.
Mm-hmm.
But in the games when Atlanta does start opening up the attack and they are pushing really heavily, that allows him to get higher up the pitch. And you have seen him in those moments, within 35 yards where he can make an impact. I mean, even against God, New England.
Mhm.
It's a forgettable match.
He
I struggle with it.
blocked it out already.
Yeah, I've already put that one out. He's getting to the end line at points. He's playing in, balls and kind of, back and forth with guys like Silva, with Pedro Amador on the left, and he's making like serious incursions into the box. And you don't always want your 6 or even 8 to do that, but when the time calls for it, right? Like that's getting numbers into the box and it's creating overloads, and that's how you score goals. Hopefully.
Did you see this? Derek's mentioning something of a scuffle at training yesterday.
So I wasn't there yesterday. The moment it happened, I started getting messages.
Oh, okay.
There was definitely some clarification. I think later it was Muyumba, Slish. It had been mentioned that Jay was also involved. Kind of came to a little bit of a head a couple times where they were, shoving at each other, pushing each other. Like it wasn't just like a shouting type deal.
Yeah.
It was, it was a little bit of physicality involved, and the coaching staff had to kind of separate everybody, yell things like save it for the game and that kind of stuff. And I think maybe it was Doug that mentioned after the fact when Slish spoke that, they've gotten over it.
Yeah.
They've, there's definitely a lot of passion going on. There's, again, going back to my comment about the blame comments coming off of the New England match. I think maybe there is a little bit there that is just straight up passion and frustration from getting unlucky and not performing the way that maybe they want to. And you can look at it in one of two ways, right? Like you don't ever want to put any kind of spin, and by anybody, I mean like media, the club, like
the collective we.
Yeah, like let it be what it is. It's a couple of guys that are hyper competitive, which is good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That got into it at training because somebody was doing something that they weren't supposed to do, or they were slacking off, whatever. I don't know those circumstances. That's good that they're kind of getting on each other about it. You want to see that. But you don't want it to be that like there's something fundamentally broken, right? Like with the relationship there. And it doesn't seem that way.
No.
It just seems like you've got a bunch of guys that are kind of pissed off at not performing up to their expectations. And maybe now they're kind of holding each other's feet a little closer to the fire. And I'm okay with that. As long as nobody, gets the police called on them or, somebody's teeth knocked out or anything like that, I'm good with it. Get right. And if it comes to getting in each other's face, and then you have that proverbial, like, hey, we met up behind the gym after the end of the day and we fought it out and now we're best friends, do that, please. And let it show on the field.
Well,
that's what I want to see.
Well, and to your point, I'm thinking that there should be an example followed from what we saw from Mateus Click late in the match against New England, where you come in, you show a little nasty, and you get a card for it. I'm leaving the Alexis De Silva conversation alone, considering that we blew that up on like 19 different directions on Monday.
Yeah.
But the fact that Click showed a little nasty and he showed a little pissed off and hip checked somebody and kept an attack from happening or whatever, kept a possession from happening. Go ahead and be a little nasty on the pitch more than once. And going into Philly, that even though this is, Bradley Carnell, Red Bulls-ish, light, all caps, SC, Bradley Carnell coming into Philadelphia, it's still going to be Philadelphia, and you know what Philly's going to bring to the table. So bring the nasty with you, and bring it with you more than just this once upcoming. Bring it with you more than just that one hip check we got from Mateus Click against New England. Bring it with you in Central Florida when you're going up against the Purple team in 2 weeks. Bring it with you when Nashville comes to town as a rival in a couple of weeks. So now that you've shown the nasty at practice, go ahead and keep the nasty with you, pack it in your athletic bag or pack it in your warm-up suit and bring it with you, for the foreseeable future, because I think once again, you gotta be a little sandpapery at times. And when someone's going to come after you, when they foul you 20 times and they only get 2 yellow cards, maybe there should be times when you should reciprocate.
100%. And I think this is, I'll always go back. The very first conversation I ever had with Ronnie Dyla, I know I've said it on here, I've said it a million times, but when I asked him, what is the biggest thing that you need to see or that you want to see change between last year's Atlanta United and now your Atlanta United? And he said, I think we need to be more assholes. And
there's the explicit rating I was on.
It is. Courtesy of Ronnie Dyla /
Yes.
I think you haven't quite seen that. You've seen some progression in the sense, and I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, you're not seeing one of your players get obliterated and then nobody come up and defend them. You're at least kind of seeing a little bit of that, but like, I need it to be more than that. I want to see like 2001 Stone Cold Steve Austin, when it comes time, like you hip check somebody, you lay somebody out, especially in the bins, and then I want to see Click get down in their face, like,
yeah,
and start like saying some stuff to them, and then make it to where those players, the next time they play Atlanta United, especially at home, like, I understand being away is a different story, but especially at home, I need the story on the bus ride over. This is my fan fiction. For the team that played last time and got fouled, for that guy that got fouled to be like, man, you remember last time we were here? Like, that dude, he like hip checked me, he laid me out, and then he got in my face and screamed something about my ancestors and offended me. And then the whole stadium like applauded him. And now I got a little bit of PTSD. Like, that's what I want players coming into the bins to think. Don't come here thinking you're going to do anything other than run for your life. Like, it should be much more intimidating to play Atlanta United inside the bins. But in general, yeah, be more of an a-hole. I don't want to keep going with it.
No, it's perfectly. Look, Jarrett ran the explicit rating on Monday, and he punched, I think, 4 separate references in like a 5-minute period. Don't worry about it. I just have to hit the E. It's all good.
All right. But no, I want to see that, and you have to see it. And you can't, you got to be smart about it too, right? Like, you can't come, like, if you're going to get a yellow card, make it a worthy yellow.
Be a smart a-hole is what.
Yeah. Play with your head a little bit, but it's got to be intelligent. Like, I think what Click did in that, especially at that point, considering everything else going on with the refereeing and all that kind of stuff, like, go in, lay one out, get the yellow. And now it's way too late at that point, right? This should have happened like 45 minutes before. But yeah, and I see Ransom's comment, like, the magic of the bins is gone. Like, but you got to get it back. And that's what I'm talking about. It's got to be an intimidating place to play. And the fans, because the fans are still there doing their job. The players have to make it happen too on the pitch. And just be more of a bunch of D-bags.
So today's show is brought to you by the letter D and the letter A.
Absolutely.
Don't think I don't know where you're going. All right. So what's going on tonight?
So tonight, 7:00 show, we are going to be discussing all of Atlanta United's things that are going on with the one and only Dax McCarty.
So I've heard of this individual.
Yeah, me too.
And he has not been all that particularly flowery when it comes to his assessments of Atlanta United this year.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see, kind of, especially now, like 8 games in, everything that we've just talked about, like, and being so shortly removed from the team itself, albeit a much different team than it was when he was here.
Yes.
I'm just curious to see kind of like what his overall thoughts are and how he feels, and more importantly, like, what he feels needs to change to kind of get it right, or if anything, or is it more just like keep chugging along until it all comes good?
All right. So we will see. And so what are the broadcast deets, sir?
7:00 over on mainly the YouTube, but you can also check it out on the X/Twitter/Bird app, whatever, and Facebook.
Yes. So all of the social medias involving our man Tyler and our friends over at SNS, the Scarves and Spikes folks, for the Atlanta United Informational Journalistic Exchange program that we have with you every single Wednesday. Once again, as always, thanks for dropping by and giving me PTSD when it comes to my grilling habits and my automobile purchases. I really appreciate it.
We run the gamut here. This is good.
Yes. All right. So
get it out.
Yes. So show the mug one more time so folks can sit
Yes.
there and look and see what's going on. There it is. Okay.
Community.
Yes, community. And the scarf wrapped around with scarves and spikes. So there you go.
There you go.
All right. Go enjoy the rest of your morning. Thanks for dropping by.
Appreciate it.
All right. There goes Tyler. There was Tyler. There is Tyler. So once again tonight, Dax McCarty is going to be joining the guys at Scarves in Spikes. And it's going to be a conversation of incredible proportions. Because like I said, Dax has not been all that hype on what he has seen so far involving Atlanta United. So you'll get the conversation with Dax coming on with them tonight at Scarves and Spikes on all of their social medias, and we get to find out what's on Dax's mind, and we'll see what's going on there. All right, time to say hi to everybody as we cross the 10 o'clock transom, as they say. And first and foremost, thank you for your forbearance when it came to a story time with John involving a car this morning. So it's just Tyler brought it out of me, and I'm sorry. So yeah, don't get an as-is car ever. Doesn't matter if it's a family connection. Doesn't matter what. Does not matter what. Do not get an as-is car ever, or ever again. If you've had an as-is car and you've had a good experience with it, mazel tov. But don't do it again, because I'm 1 for 1, and it's 1 for 1 in a bad way. So good morning, Michael. Morning, Kefsi. Kefsi drinks black coffee, apparently. Morning, Michael Valverde. Morning, Emilio. Well-intentioned outbreaks, by the way, they got reported to the Twitch folks. So hopefully they are not going to be in a position to where they're going to be given things. Let's see. So morning, Lokeville. Morning, Michael. Let's see. Morning, Michael and Michael. Morning, Tommy, as he was hanging out for the Tyler segment. Morning, Rich. And let's see. Morning, Derek. Morning, Alex. Trying to see. Morning, Unk, who I believe is still joining us from the West Coast on a regular basis. And trying to see if there's anybody different. Morning, David. And David says, give to Tyler. Give to Tyler. So there you go. That's the rundown for us for this morning. And so that's where we at when it comes to everything. Okay, so Dylan had family stuff. And so the youngins are at spring break. And so Dylan is having to corral for spring break. So let's get straight into the Open Cup discussion. We'll go through what happened last night. And all right, so there we go. All right. So Dylan sent me a note. He goes, kids off for spring break. And so it's trust me, we all know youngins and we all know spring break. So we all know how sometimes that can be a challenge. So we'll see what's up. So all right, let's get into Open Cup. Now, last night you had 3 cup sets after dark. So here's what happened last night. The Hounds. I don't know. It's just the Hounds. It's ridiculous. So the Hounds. Look, you're the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, okay? Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Good on you. So Pittsburgh Riverhounds got a 1-0 win against Columbus Crew 2. Rhode Island FC got a win last night over P-Hop, the Portland Hearts of Pine. Lou City and Loudon, and it was interesting to see the it was interesting to see the responses. It's like, and Lou City beat Loudon United again in USL Championship, but this time it was one of those. We beat them again, and so Lou City won 2-1 over Loudon. North Carolina FC. I need to get that Dean Linke drop. How about North Carolina FC? 3-1 winners over Charlotte Independence. Charleston shut out South Georgia Tormenta 4-0. And then the last 3 matches of the night, that was where you had your cup sets. Union Omaha scored a goal. Sorry, Harry. Union Omaha got a goal. Los Bujos knocked off San Antonio FC 1-0. And so that was your first one. Dion Akoff scored the lone goal in the first half. and this was at Caniglia Field in Omaha, Nebraska. I think that's at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. Isidro Martinez to Akoff. Akoff got it past Richard Sanchez at the near post. Rashid Nuhu, 3 saves and a clean sheet. So, Union Omaha, Los Bujos, the Murder Owls advance. AV Alta, we might have to track them down at Lancaster Municipal Stadium. For those of you that were up really, really late to see this one and the next one. So it was AV Alta and Orange County SC. And, those that get to hang out from the left coast, Andy, living and breathing Orange County SC as much as he does here, is one of our plus ones, one of our A-listers. So AV Alta goes to the round of 32, beating OCSC in a shootout. Usman Sila scores for OC in the 15th minute. Luca Mastrantonio gets the equalizer in the 68th. AV Alta scores Emmanuel Araribe, makes it 2-1. Mohamedou War, see, that's a name. Mohamedou War gets OCSC level in the 84th. 2-2 after 90, 2-2 after 120. AV Alta reserve keeper Denzel Smith comes on for the shootout. He comes on for the shootout, and he gets the win. Diving save before Captain Miguel Pajaro gets the match winner. Pajaro had been opened up, so he had the bandage on because he had an injury. Nasty cut in the first half. And so AV Alta from League One advances. They advance to the next round, winning 4-2 in pens. So good on AV Alta out of USL League One, the expansion franchise out of USL League One. And they get the Duke. Now, the other one. Now, this is the one that we told you about. This is the one that we told you about, legitimately. We said that this is one to keep an eye on, Tacoma Defiance and Oakland Roots. Because Oakland, they are having a bit of a hiccup out of the blocks in USL Championship this year. They finally got off the schneid last time out in league and got more than 1 point on the board. MD Myers, by the way, had a hat trick in the Charleston Battery match. I know that Dell was happy about that. But Roots literally start their season going 0-4-1. They're doing fantastic things at the Oakland Coliseum, getting a boatload of folks to go see them, but that hasn't translated onto the field. So what happens? Oakland gets a win last Saturday going up against FC Tulsa. Tulsa right now 4th in the Western Conference. And so it's been proven that Oakland can get results. They go to 1-4-1. And then because of this slow start, legitimately, we had earmarked this one and we're like, hey, look, Oakland has had issues coming out of the blocks. Maybe you need to kind of keep an eye out on this one. And so sure enough, as we figured, Tacoma 1-1 after 90 minutes. Extra 30, Tacoma at Starfire. Once again, we talk about how tough Starfire is as a place to play. Starfire, once again, showed why that folks that go to Starfire, sometimes Open Cup dreams perish in the winds, and Oakland's did. Defiance midfielder Peter Kingston from nearly 30 gets a goal in the 28th minute. Neviel Hackshaw scored with 15 to go. You go in 90 minutes, you're done at ones. And then he converts from the penalty spot after Tacoma's Kaito Yamada whistled for a handball. 108th minute. Jackson Corey, you remember him from his time at Tormenta. Defiance possession. He plays the ball to Osaz del Rosario. Gets past Rafael Spiegel, 2-1 lead. Last 6 minutes, Defiance played with 10. So Oakland, I got to check the juice boxes on this one because this was one that we had circled this one, and we were like, yeah, you keep an eye on this one. So you keep an eye on it, and if you had, then you'd see what was going on. Then you can find out that it would be an Open Cup set. Now, looking at the results from yesterday, we'll go over the juice boxes and we'll get you ready for tonight. Tacoma was favored by the time this one flipped. Tacoma was a plus 138. Tacoma was a plus 138 on the board. They were favored as Roots went to Starfire. We were like, yeah, they probably should be. But still, a favorite on the plus side. They weren't a minus favorite. They were a plus 138. Oakland, a plus 168. 90-minute draw, plus 233. Avialta was a plus 271. Draw was basically the same thing, a plus 235 in the composite. Union Omaha was a plus 213. Charleston, a minus 303. North Carolina FC on the road, a plus 123 favorite. Lou City, a minus 154. I had that one misread. Completely and totally had that one misread. So Lou City was a minus 154. We know why. We know absolutely why. Knocking off Loudon, who was a plus 380. Cano Smith and our friends at Rhode Island FC, minus 159, going to Lewiston, Maine to take on Portland Hearts of Pine. And the Hounds. That's just, I don't know why, if you went to ask Bob Lilly, seriously, what do you think about just being shorted to the Hounds? It's like you're going on a fox hunt. I mean, think of it this way. As I'm playing this out in my head, easiest way, Emilio, is Paramount Plus or Golasso Network, and some of them, yes, thank you, Kefsi. It was previously on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel. Now it's all on Paramount Plus. And on CBS Sports Network, you get the occasional game. And on Golasso Network, you get the occasional game. And I think you can, if you've got fancy cable, you can get Golasso Network, I think, through Tubi or through Paramount Plus. I get everything through Paramount Plus, one of my 98 streaming services. So we'll see. But yes, YouTube, now over to Paramount Plus for the remainder of the tournament. So so that's where you are with the Open Cup from yesterday. So now the Open Cup for today. Once again, it's another 8 matches to get you ready for the round of 32. And remember, because of the group settings, makes it sound like it's a computer. One Knox and Chattanooga, they had to go out west. Just because of the geographic superiority of all the teams in this particular round, in the third round. A lot of the Eastern teams. So that meant that 2 teams drew the short straw and that you couldn't have Colorado Springs and Vegas Lights, I think, play each other at this point. They could play each other later. So it was One Knox and Chattanooga that had to work their way west. Detroit City hosting Westchester at 7 o'clock. At Keyworth at a minus 169. Westchester's a plus 409, and your draw's a plus 265. Also at 7 o'clock, FC Naples and Tampa Bay Rowdies. Tampa Bay Rowdies are favored at a minus 105. Remember, they've had a coaching change. So we'll see how they respond to that. Going to Naples at a plus 241 for the draw. FC Naples to win is a plus 246. Remember what happened last time when they played Sarasota? The game got very, very chippy with 2 Florida teams there at Naples. So we'll see what happens this go-round at Naples at 7 o'clock. 7:30 at the Mike, Indy 11 hosting the Miami FC at a minus 238. The Miami FC at a plus 483 in the composite. FC Tulsa, favored at home against Phoenix. They're a dog at home against Phoenix Rising at a plus 179. Phoenix Rising is a plus 125. And a 90-minute draw is a plus 236. One of the teams that had to go out west, One Knox, it shows. Having to go to Widener Field in beautiful downtown Colorado Springs, Switchbacks are minus 152. One knocks are a plus 338. Your 90-minute draws a plus 279. 9:30 Eastern Time, New Mexico and El Paso. How's that? How's that one for you? Got about a rivalry game. I'm wondering if Duke Keith, our friend Duke Keith, is going to be traveling to the lab to check this one out, or if he's on the call for it. New Mexico's a minus 123 at home. Draws a plus 256. El Paso is a plus 283. Sacramento, and this is one of the ones. This is where you get into Open Cup after dark. Sacramento Republic, massive favorite at home at Heart Health, taking on our friends at El Farolito. Burrito Boys are a plus 585. Draws a plus 376 at 90 minutes, and Sacramento's a minus 278. Put nothing past the Burrito Boys, your reigning NPSL champs. Vegas Lights at 10:30 hosting Chattanooga Red Wolves. Red Wolves are a plus 523, 90-minute draws a plus 307, and Vegas Lights are minus 222. So those are your matchups today. Now, once again, the draw for the next round is going to be at 9:15 tomorrow morning. And the draw is going to have 2 third-round winners going into matchups with another pair of clubs coming in from Major League Soccer. So, round of 32. This is the third round, and yes, there were 32 teams in this one. But you're going to have the teams from Major League Soccer joining in the next round. That draw is going to be while we are on the air in hour number 1. So it might be a bit of a watch-along. We'll see if there are any cup sets that we can talk about and see if we can get any folks to get up early to talk about it in hour number 1. But rundown for tomorrow pretty much is going to be Open Cup draw, be like opening kickoff, Open Cup draw. We'll talk about the Open Cup, see if we can get anybody to join us to talk Open Cup. Maybe we can find out from our friends from Los Burros, the Murder Owls, after their upset. Get them on maybe hopefully at 9:30. I'll send some more. So this is me putting out the bat signal to Union Omaha. Literally, this is me putting out the bat signal to Union Omaha. So here's the idea. Anybody that had a cup set that wants to get up early and be in the 9:30 time slot tomorrow morning, feel free. Send out your notes. Send out your bat signals to all your friends. So yes, 9:15 tomorrow morning is the Open Cup draw. So we'll discuss that tomorrow morning at 9 as it's happening. So it will end up being something akin to a watch-along. So watch-along for Open Cup, round of 32, tomorrow morning, starting at 9:15. And we'll get you through hour number 1. Power Hour is hour number 2 with Nino and Nico. And then Jason will be in Dalton tomorrow at Chapel Harmon to watch Southeast Whitfield and the Dalton Catamounts. So that's your rundown for all of that stuff. So that's Open Cup. That's Open Cup today. I feel like I need like the old NFL music. Dun, 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 you know, that. Active 8-game slate. Union Omaha's latest famous cup win. So Nebraska's side, Union Omaha, 2 wins and a PK triumph in 3 Open Cup meetings against USL championship competition. Union Omaha, get this. Here's your stat of the day. Union Omaha is now 9-3-2 all time in the Open Cup. Both draws followed by wins and PKs. 3 advancements since 2022. Denzel Smith, once again, was the Trinidad and Tobago keeper who has beaten the U.S., Jamaica, and El Salvador in international time. He was the keeper that subbed in for Rashid Nuhu for the PKs, and Union Omaha came out the other side. Or sorry, he was at AV Alta. My bad. So, yeah, Denzel Smith's at AV Alta. He came in for the PKs, and he came in to give AV Alta the win in Lancaster, California. So that's your Open Cup today. Open Cup today. So that's where we are with Open Cup and things. But once again, tomorrow, really looking like an Open Cup wander through. we'll be watching and we'll be reacting. We'll be reacting along with everybody else. So that's that's going to be the rundown tomorrow. I already foresee it. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down. That it's going to be Open Cup today, starting at 9:15, and we'll see if anybody can join us at 9:30. So this way, I don't forget. And then so I also. Oh, and here's the other thing. Speaking of forgetting, and having to do with our high school schedule. Last night, we were at Lassiter, and it was Lassiter and Kennesaw Mountain, and I've got to figure out how to re-upload the girls' match because our friends at Kennesaw Mountain reached out to me this morning, and they're like, it's just spinning. And I'm like, okay. And then I went and then I tried to click on the link for the download, and it's like disappeared or something. So I've got to figure out and figure out how to repost that match. So last night we were there. Jason called the boys match. No, I called the boys match, and the girls match was with wait a second. So wait, what's going on? Okay, so okay, girls game. Okay. So it is the girls match. So the girls match that Jason called last night is apparently somewhere in the ether. And so I've got to figure out where it is, re-upload it, and then we can have that to be back on the network. So you can listen to any of our high school matches that aren't just kind of floating around someplace that have to be reclaimed and re-uploaded. So right now I've got to figure out after the show is over and before soccer's in session at noon, I have to figure out where the girls' game went that Jason called and re-upload it. So anyway, we were there till about 10 o'clock last night. I called the boys match, and it was fun. And it was very humbling to hear what some of the parents were thinking about what we've been able to do on the network. Jason sent me a WhatsApp message that had a picture attached. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll show it to you. For those of you who are watching on the on our social medias, let me see if I can find the message that Jason sent to me last night. Yep, here it is. Okay, so yeah, here is, and basically, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. But Coach Penny at Lassiter sent a picture, and I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can get it closer. So, there, Coach Penny at Lassiter sent a picture to Jason late last night. That's my tablet, and I left it in the press box at Lassiter. So I've got to go back and reclaim that. And I will. And thanks to Coach Penny for actually finding it first place. Because I pack up so many things into a bag that it just ends up getting, jammed into a space. And so, yeah. So I had that. That happened yesterday too. So nothing went wrong with the car or anything, but it's just leaving things behind. I have a headset case. I have the board, and I have the computer and things like that. I've got like an athletic bag that I carry all that stuff in with the 25-foot long extension cord. And so, of course, in packing everything up, I'm like, yeah, I got everything. I closed the door behind me, and then that picture showed up. So I didn't have everything. So tomorrow I have to go back to Lassiter and get it. This is the kind of things that happen, period, on the road. It's like you try to have a laundry list of, okay, what am I forgetting? What am I remembering? I remember to take everything, but I don't remember to bring everything back. So my tablet is at Lassiter, and I'm going to go reclaim that tomorrow. Yes, David, basically, yes. I lost my ring? What? Yes. Well, and the fact that the ring was in between two pieces of clothing on separate hangers here in the office and was there for 2 weeks. By the way, I've just kind of gotten used to having both rings on my finger now. The boss went to physical therapy this morning, and she came back, and I got to get an update from her in the 11 o'clock hour about her physical therapy. But yeah, I've just gotten to the point now where I just wear both rings. And it has gotten to the point now where I'm going to need to get the the fiberglass one resized. I'm gonna have to get both of these resized actually because they starting to fall off my fingers. So I'm gonna have to get both resized or just downsize them both. But yeah, so that's the kind of life that that I've been leading. Like leaving things behind, having them claimed. But the ring, David, is the weirdest one of them all, just because simply it's one of those where you're going, I thought I had it, and it wasn't on my finger, and it wasn't on my finger because it was stuck here in the office someplace, which I would have never anticipated. I never would have anticipated that it was just going to be laying between two articles of clothing that were on hangers over at the rocking chair here in the office and just sit there for 2 weeks. That's what we're dealing with here. I know that, I know that this is tremendous content here. We're supposed to be talking about soccer, and we're finding out about John's brain lock. Gee, John having brain lock. Who knew? No, but that's today. So that's your latest. That's your latest with John update. So my tablet is back at Lassiter. Don't do that. When you're going on live remotes and when you're taking things places, remember to take everything home with you. Simple notes. Yes, just simple notes. Just make sure that everything is there with you when you're on your way home. Champions League yesterday, it was crazy. Unai Emery basically told his team, we need a PSG-ish kind of a comeback. And they almost damn near did. Absolutely. Almost. But Marcus Rashford, the question is going to be, what's Marcus Rashford's future? And honestly, when you have Donnarumma have the day that he had, you literally had Villa winning. Villa was up 3-0. And then you end up with goals from Tielemans, McGinn, and Konsa. Hakimi and Mendes scored to make it 2-0 PSG. Villa comes storming back, and they score 3. Down 2-0 at Villa Park. They come back to score 3 and win 3-2 in the match, but they end up losing 5-4 in the aggregate. But like I said, the questions are now going to be about Aston Villa and their future. See, and Pars has a lot. Pars, I'm sure. Now remember, Parzival was the one here as in our plus ones that we wanted to try to give a front level Premier League team to, and we gave him Aston Villa. I wondered what Pars was up to yesterday and how he's feeling today, now that he is feeling the ups and downs of Champions League through his newly minted fandom with Aston Villa, or a team to follow. So I want to, if anybody knows where Pars is, can somebody do a check on him after what happened yesterday? But, Unai Emery after the match, it could not have been any higher about the future for this group. But now it's up to Villa to maintain. Coming back to 3-2 from the Telegraph, Emery found it hard to disguise his sense of regret at the end. He saw a team that had more than half an hour to get the goal that would have at very least taken the tie to extra time. He says at P2, they, meaning PSG, were suffering under our press. At that moment, when we were missing a last-minute impact, the last 20 minutes, it was missing the opportunity to push them and try to get the result. So Unai Emery feels like he let PSG off the hook. He left them on. He left them there. And John McGinn, who's captain of Villa, wants to come back to Champions League immediately. First appearance in the competition since 1983. They reached the quarters and pushed PSG to the limit. So McGinn, for the record, £2.5 million signing from Hibs. Cabbage in 2018. Says we want more. We want to be back here next season. try our best to do that, gave absolutely everything, and I think every Villa supporter will leave with a huge sense of pride. And so now Unai Emery has challenged his group. Every player at this level has a huge level to play and to try to be a protagonist. We were a protagonist as well with our skills. We were focused on our game plan. I was thinking only to play out game plan and be consistent. We were attacking in those transitions. They were clinical. We knew it. We tried to avoid transition in the first leg by defending lower. Today we took the new game plan and we're pushing more. It is now important to get to Europe again. The most important competition is the Champions League. The challenge we have for the last 6 matches is to try to get to Europe in the Champions League. That's where Aston Villa is. That's where they are right now. To say this about Aston Villa right now, at this point, you bring in Unai Emery, and I'll be the first person to say it. I'll be the first person to say it. I had Unai Emery all wrong at Arsenal. I really did. I thought that when he came over from the continent, he didn't have the, in retrospect, I don't think he was given the resources to compete at Arsenal. Then he goes back to the continent, and then he comes back to Aston Villa. And Villa right now, they're in the heart of the whole thing. Right now, standings in the Premier League. That group from 3 to 7, Newcastle with the match in hand, separated by 3 points. 5 slots go to Champions League, and you're literally 1 point out of that. Forest at 57, Newcastle 56, match in hand. City, 55 points. 9 losses in 32. This really does feel like an end of an era at Manchester City. This is last dance material, I think. Europa League, Chelsea right now at 54 points. Villa right now, Conference League, they've won 4 in a row. But right now they're at 54. That group has separated itself from the rest. Bournemouth is chasing. Fulham is chasing. Brighton is chasing. They're all at 48 points. Goal difference is in Bournemouth's favor. So if somebody stumbles, then that's who might be drifting in. But you've got to make up 2 wins just to get into the discussion for Conference League. Then it's Brentford, Crystal Palace right now, 11th. 43 points. Brentford's got better goal difference than Crystal Palace. Everton's at 38. Manchester United at 38. Tottenham, Spurs at 37 have lost 3 of 4. Wolves have won 4 in a row to separate themselves from any kind of relegation fight. West Ham is at 35, but once again, 14 points from safety is where Ipswich is. 14 points from safety. 6 matches to go. So once again, the magic number's 5 for Wolves and West Ham. The cursed number, as it was referred to yesterday or Monday, I think, was 21 points for Ipswich. Then Leicester's magic number is, for relegation is 2. West Ham and Wolves win, Leicester goes down. But right now, the goal for Pars and his beloved Up the Villa is to get back into Europe and not have to do it through Conference League and win Conference League and then win Europa and then no. Get in there immediately. That's what they're looking to do. Villa pushed PSG to the limit. And now it's the idea of wanting more. That's what you're chasing. And of course, everybody's sitting there. Look at Prince William. Now, other news out of the Prem, by the way. Tom Morgan at the Telegraph, the Premier League has moved to close potential spending sanction loopholes for relegated or promoted clubs following the legal battles with Leicester. A tightening in the wording of the rules now stipulates allowable losses for applicable years in which a team may have been in the championship. Remember, Leicester ran afoul of the PSR, the profit and sustainability. And when they went through legal battles, it was because, well, we were in the championship and then we're in the Prem, and so the numbers need to be different for us. And so now there is a clarification, according to Morgan, that a relegated club will, quote, remain bound, end quote, by the rules, quote, until such time as it has complied with all of its obligations relating to last season in the top tier. The tweak, confirmed in the new Premier League handbook published last week, is intended to clamp down on clubs attempting to avoid spending sanctions if they haven't been a top-tier club for an entire 3-year reporting period. Second-tier clubs have tighter spending limits. Instead of 105, it's £41.5 million over a 3-year period. However, Leicester remain in arbitration with the Premier League over the jurisdiction relating to the 22-23 season. So right now, Leicester is navigating the loss number over a 3-year period. Where is it between 41.5 and 105? You would think that you would just sit there and say, okay, if you're in the Prem, then it's 35 times however many years, and then for the time that you spend in the Championship, 3 into 41, it's like 13 and a lot, not quite 14 million. Club had previously won the legal challenge on the basis that the league didn't have jurisdiction after Leicester had been relegated in 23. The club said that they had identified flaws in the Premier League rules. Nick DeMarco was the lawyer on the case for Leicester. They claimed the Premier League didn't have jurisdiction, and it was backed by an independent commission. Premier League appealed against the decision, now has to be settled before any further actions taken. Leicester, facing relegation again, were not charged for the 23-24 cycle, despite reporting losses of $92.5 million and $89.7 million in the previous 2 years. Leicester raised over $90 million in sales following relegation to the Championship. So you're at 91 over a 2-year period, basically. 2.5, so 92.2. Harvey Barnes sold to Newcastle. Alex was happy. Kieran Dewsbury Hall sold to Chelsea. Timothy Castagna sold to Fulham. That's 68 and 13.5, 81.5. And then Chelsea paid $10 million to appoint Enzo Maresca and get the coaching staff. So that's 91.5 right there. The handbook amendment initially spotted was by a lawyer and a former financial advisor to Manchester City. And so now that the rule has been tightened, league sanctions regime, the sanctions regime, say that 10 times fast, section of the new handbook, a new paragraph stipulates, quote, if a club is relegated from the league, that club shall, notwithstanding relegation, remain bound by the rules as if it were still a club until such a time it has complied with all of its obligations relating to its last season as a club. Also, in addition, providing further clarity to the cap on losses for seasons which a team may have been in the tier below, the sum set out loss calculations, quote, shall be reduced by $22 million per season for each of the 3 seasons prior to the current season during which a club was in membership of the Football League, up to a maximum deduction of £66 million. So if you were in the Championship for 3 years, you can claim $22 million in PSR minus each time, up to a maximum of 66. It's all math. This is hurting my head. But anyway, basically the story is the Premier League closed the loophole. So what Leicester is currently fighting will be the last time until further notice that someone fights this particular loophole. Well, we weren't there, so you can't charge us that amount. We weren't there at the time. Now the Premier League is like, well, you were there then, and so now you apply that rule to that time frame. So I think Leicester probably will be the last team that will be able to use said loophole before everything gets shut down again. So once again, somebody tell Knicks that you got it, but you'll be the last to get it. Bournemouth's going to plan contract talks with Andoni Iraola once again to ward off Spurs. Barca held on in Champions League after Girassi had brought Dortmund back. So that's what you're staring at with that. News from around the planet. Jack Snape at The Guardian says the A-League, meaning Australia, wants a strict salary cap of $3 million Australian. The clubs are allowed one marquee men's player outside the cap. So basically, you could do like what the NBA used to do, like the Larry Bird exception. You could do that starting in 26-27. Stricter salary cap to prevent a player spend arms race under major reforms. Australian professional leagues is on track to break even this year. And so they want to try and continue to be viable. That would prevent another drop in distributions to clubs, many of which have found themselves in financial trouble. Under the reforms, you get the hard cap of $3 million, introduced for 26-27, the first in the new broadcast cycle. And you get your Larry Bird exception. Transitional arrangements in place next year. Clubs won't be penalized for breaches in 26-27. Most clubs' financial reports are not publicly available, but Melbourne Victory showed a loss of almost $10 million. Club subsequently received investment from Brighton's owner and chair Tony Bloom, who acquired a 19% stake. Currently, that hard cap that they're looking at for 26-27 at $3 million replaces the current $2.5 or $2.55 million soft cap with 6 concessional categories. Created an even competition, but clubs are still spending beyond their means, which frankly should be their prerogative. And if they can't keep up with the Joneses or they don't know how to spend correctly, that should be on them. But the A-League is going to sit there and now have a $3 million hard cap in 2 seasons, 26-27 plus your Larry Bird exception. They're not suggesting a reduction in the salary floor, which has remained at $2.25 million a club for several years. But you now have this window starting in 26-27 from $2.25 to $3. That's really going to be a challenge for the front offices in the league. How do you navigate getting this roster piece together for somewhere between $2.25 million and $3 million with one Larry Bird exception? New model introduced in 27-28 that would limit club spending based on revenues following consultation with the clubs. So Australia is trying to do things financially. They're trying to sit there and it's like, okay, here's what we're thinking. And, for the rest of you, kind of hang out and sit there and figure it out. So that's where the A-League currently is when it comes to all of their discussions. And so, once again, as we tour, excuse me, like I said, I don't know about y'all, but allergies are just raging right now. Raging. And I can't figure out how it's like you're hot, you're cold, you're hot, you're cold, you're hot, you're cold. Just like, But it's not helping. I don't know how you guys are, but yeah. That's why I keep having to hit the mute button as much as I do, because the last thing you guys want is for me to sit there and, do the clear my throat. Would you rather me clear my throat or would you rather me do this? I think you'd rather me do that. So, yeah, going from hot to cold to hot to cold to hot to cold, then being in reconstituted air, and then going back outside into the hot. So that's why the voice sounds so lovely and the nose is as lovely as it is. Once again, noon, it's Soccer's in Session presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Aaron Paul, the head coach at Morgan County, is going to join us. We'll go through all the brackets as we know them. We'll go through the polls as we know them, and we'll get you ready for a very, very busy midweek, last week of the regular season here in the GHSA before we get into the playoffs. We are going to have postseason action for you. We're still trying to figure out, once again, where we can go, how many times we can do it, how many matches can we have on any given day. And that's kind of where we are. with all of that. Let me roll through the promos because I forgot to do that. Once again, thanks for all of you that have been investing in the Marshall Islands Soccer Project. Let me check the Kickstarter campaign, as a matter of fact. I forgot to do the promos. I mean, literally, because Tyler jumped in at 9:15, I forgot to do the promos. Right now, the Kickstarter project for the Marshall Islands to host their first ever tournament in Northwest Arkansas in August is at $8,200. About a month to go. And it is, they're looking for about $26,000 because they want to bring in the 4 teams, including theirs. They want to have a full week in Arkansas. And yeah, we're probably going to be there. So we'll probably be in Fayetteville doing the show because, full disclosure, my niece is there and she's working in Fayetteville. So we'd probably be staying there and going to John Brown, but they've still got to get another $17,500. So, so right now, Alex, I'm trying not to laugh. 8,200 right now. The pledge is 26,500. And so if you are compelled, if this is something that you'd like to help out with, because we've been very, very big with the Marshall Islands Project, we want to see them continue to succeed. And if you want to buy stuff from Player Layer, you can do that, but that comes from England. You want to buy a scarf, it comes from me. You'll go on the website, you see all the stuff that you can buy. You want to get a scarf, that comes from me on the other side of this door. So you want to get a scarf to help things out, you get it from me, I ship it to you, or I see you at Mercedes-Benz or wherever, and I bring it over to you. But right now, the Kickstarter campaign for our friends at the Marshall Islands, $8,200. They've got about a month to go. They need another $17,000. So once again, middle of August, they're looking to host their first ever tournament, and it's the Outrigger Cup, and it's, once again, Guam, Turks and Caicos, U.S. Virgin Islands. They all want to come and be a part of this. And so right now, that's what we're chasing after, but you can do your part. Once again, show your support. Buy the gear, that helps. If you want to do the Kickstarter campaign, that really helps. And once again, this is all or nothing. So if by May the 18th, they haven't gotten to the $26,000, this is not going to happen. It's an all or nothing gig. But if you are compelled to help out, go to the Kickstarter campaign, and I will make a point to sit here and hit the link and post it in the Twitch pitch for you. And you can go there. So that's the first thing to think about today. As we always like to do, Soccer for Good. We do Soccer for Good in a couple different ways. You can get your jersey from Olive and York. And what you can do from our friends at Olive and York is you can get your first ever Soccer Down Here jersey, floppy collar. You can go back on Instagram and see how lovingly it was modeled by Greg Garza, Sophia Cupertino, our staff photographer, and by our Madison Cruz. And so you can get it Kaiser Permanente across the front, Beyond Goals Mentoring on one side, and on the other side, it is Soccer for Good, and you can continue to help that out there. You can go to Olive and York with our causes there, with the proceeds heading toward our Soccer for Good campaign here in 25. Also, our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. What you can do there is get the Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear, and you can get it in red or black. Boss has taken, thank you, Emilio. Jeez, 21-28 for the pollen count. You can get your Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear, T-shirt, sweatshirt, red, black, gold embossed, SDH logo on one side, Grady Baby logo on the other wrist. And what you do there is, if you invest in that, you can get you're helping out middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools. So you can continue to grow the game that way. Also, you can go to the SDH Network website at soccerdownhere.net. You can get your SDH gear, and you can get the old logos and franchises that Jason has retrified. You can get that gear. You can get all your SDH gear there as well. And also, what you can do is you can go to Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. We'll get into what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it today. We'll get you into that in just a little bit to go with the gossip, the rumor, and the innuendo, and play that forward. And then what you can do there is watch all the be-ins, and they are in AFCON right now. So it is AFCON qualifying. You can get all the be-ins, Nuestra Tela, CDO, For the Fans, Teise, Liga 1 Max Pro. Our buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV. Nino will be on with us at 10 o'clock tomorrow to go fully loaded. And then you can continue to be a true degenerate when it comes to your love of the game. You can watch it in a bunch of different places that you would not have been able to watch it previously, a bunch of different places around the planet. So you've got that to look forward to. And then also become a fanatico. And this is one thing that I haven't promoted enough, and I probably should. Now, the way that things look is that if you want to become a fanatico, it literally is $10 a year. What do you do for $10 a year? Well, what you can do is you can become a fanatico here at SDH, and then you can communicate with us through the Chant app, and you get a bunch of discounts in a bunch of different places by being a fanatico here at SDH. $10 a year, and you get a bunch of discounts from a bunch of different places. Just to give you an idea, Brass Tap, Moxie. You get 20% off hotel food and beverage if you are a fanatico. South Main Brewing, Schoolhouse Brewing in Marietta, Atlanta Hard Cider, Elixir Brewing in both Beaufort and Monroe, Round Trip Brewing in East Cobb, Social Fox in Norcross, Keys to Flavor Catering, Sugar Hill, first catered event, you can get a discount. Fido's Midtown off of Food Tabs, O'Sullivan's, it is beers, food, merch if you're a fanatico. Lloyd's, you get percentage off of select Atlanta United gear. Finished Goods in Winder, Slow Pour in Lawrenceville, Outrun in Stone Mountain, Tires Plus in Alpharetta. That's one that's one of the ones that's kind of out there and different. Dad's Garage downtown, Battle and Brew in Sandy Springs in the Battery, Wild Leap in Ted Turner Drive, and then my personal favorite, Chateau Arenal in El Castillo, San Ramon, Costa Rica. You can get a discount on a booking there. So if you wanted to go watch CONCACAF, you wanted to go watch Costa Rican soccer in the Costa Rican Soccer League. Well, and I mean, David, come on. David says likes the fact that 50% of discount sponsors local brewers. I think it's more than that. But you can go to Chateau Arenal and get a discount off a booking if you're a fanatico. Seriously, you can go see, Saprissa, Alawalense, or our friends at Arediano. You can stay at Chateau Arenal. You can go get a discounted rate. You can go see some Costa Rican soccer. You can go see some CONCACAF. And you can go there. So how do you do it? And here's how you do it. Let me see if I can type it and not add any other extra things. Group.chant.fans/soccer down. I almost misspelled it. Soccer down here /join. So I think I did it. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. And what you can do is you can become a fanatico, and really, truly, what you can do is you can have a whole lot of fun, and you can also contribute back for Soccer for Good at the same time. From The Athletic this morning, FIFA, and this is from our friend Adam Crafton, FIFA is eyeing Las Vegas for the 2026 World Cup draw as it did in 1994. FIFA is in advanced negotiations with venues in Vegas to host the draw for the 26 World Cup, but they have also discussed holding the event in Washington, D.C. if it made it easier for President Donald Trump to participate extensively. When the U.S. last hosted a men's World Cup in 94, the draw took place at the Las Vegas Convention Center with Dick Clark presenting a game show style event. James Brown, Stevie Wonder, Barry Manilow, Sir Rod Stewart performed. Robin Williams assisted Sepp Blatter with the draw, and Bill Clinton appeared via video link. Setting the path for the final at the Meadowlands is supposed to be taking place in December of this year. FIFA has identified a return to Vegas as a preferred destination. Also, the preference of several host city executives who are hoping to entertain. Okay, this is how Crafton words it. It is also the preference of several host city executives who are hoping to entertain prospective commercial partners in Sin City before and after the draw. Sorry, Alex, I did have to clear my throat. In January, Alejandro Hutt, the director of the host city committee for Monterrey, told ESPN that they and Vancouver had shown interest in hosting the draw, but were informed by FIFA they would not be granted the privilege. U.S. will host 75% of the games across 11 of the 16 host cities. Crafton / The Athletic have been told by sources who wish to remain anonymous, as they were not authorized to speak publicly in the matter, that FIFA has explored multiple venue options in Las Vegas, with the 17,000-seat MGM Grand Garden Arena among the sites it is considering. FIFA has also studied alternative options, including the Sphere and T-Mobile Arena, but these are considered less likely because residencies, holiday concerts, and events are in high demand in December. T-Mobile also is the home for the Vegas Golden Knights, and they would have to adapt to the needs of the NHL regular season, for which the schedule has not been released. Soccer's world governing body would be competing for hotel rooms in Vegas, not only with holiday visitors, but for the National Finals Rodeo. 10 days plus setup and knockdown over at Thomas and Mack. In 2024, more than 170,000 attended this event across 10 days. Amazon's AWS reInvent Conference has also become an annual tradition for more than 60,000 attendees. FIFA has also inquired about the more intimate Dolby Live Arena, which has a capacity of 6,400, but MGM, which operates it, provided initial feedback to say its preference was to keep the venue open for residencies and holiday concerts. Bruno Mars and Lenny Kravitz have multiple dates at Dolby Live booked for this summer. Arguably the jewel in Dolby's crown over the past 12 months has been Mariah Carey's residency. Scheduled for December, not yet announced. Last year, she went to 20 cities as a part of her holiday season tour, and the Dolby is keen to maintain space in the calendar for further appearances by her, which limits FIFA's options. So, FIFA wants to have a Vegas-style event for the draw for the World Cup. So keep an eye out on that one. So we'll see what happens with the World Cup and the game show that is there. So we'll see. All right. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on. Yeah. Keep an eye on Vegas and the presentation for the World Cup. Vegas for a venue. I just had this vision of like the James Brown Coming to America bit in Rocky IV, where you have the showgirls with the 3-foot headdresses and the headsets and things like that. You know, Rockettes and the big kicking legs and all that kind of stuff. That might be it. All right, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get out of here. All right, and once again, today at noon, soccer's in session. Aaron Paul, the head coach at Morgan County, is going to join us. We'll go through the brackets. We'll go through matchups today, matchups from yesterday. We'll go through all the scores and all that kind of stuff. But Aaron Paul's going to bat leadoff with us at Morgan County, and he'll come on at noon. Soccer's in session, presented by Kaiser Permanente, back here in an hour. All right, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And David, I think that if you had a discount day, if you were a fanatico and you went from one place to the next to enjoy all of your discounts, we would want a full report. All right. Bournemouth resigned to losing Dean Hewson. 20-year-old prefers to move to another Premier League club over a switch to Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. Manchester United monitoring the availability of Aaron Ramsdale amid concerns over Andre Onana's form. Welcome to a day that ends in Y. That's from the 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. United also have at least 4 potential keeper targets, including Brighton's Bart Verbruggen. Chelsea closely monitoring the development of Brighton's French forward Jorginho Ruder. That's from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Sports Germany. Atletico Madrid interested in re-signing Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey this summer. That's from Marca. Four-letter paper is saying that Leeds United keen on Borussia Mönchengladbach captain and German midfielder Julian Weigl this summer, provided they earn a promotion to the Premier League. West Ham want to sign Salman Kelleher in the summer transfer window. Newcastle have beaten Real Madrid and Barca to the signing of Malaga's 18-year-old winger Antonio Cordero. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Aston Villa making progress in talks with Rosenborg over a deal with 18-year-old Norwegian midfielder Sverre Halseth Naipan. AC Milan and Roma will make the loan moves of Tammy Abraham and Alexis Salamakers permanent in the summer, despite managerial uncertainty at both clubs. Newcastle's Eddie Howe has told the club's board he wants to keep their best players this summer. There you go, Alex. And that includes Alexander Isak, who's been linked with Liverpool and Arsenal. Tom Heaton at 39 and Northern Ireland defender Johnny Evans are both set to leave Manchester United this summer when their contracts expire. Ipswich Town's Liam Delap will turn down a move to Manchester United this summer. At this point, can you blame him? That scream you heard was just Drew Dickinson. Jurgen Klopp, now global head of football at Red Bull, is emerging as a potential replacement for Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. Spurs have identified Marco Silva, Thomas Frank, and Andoni Iraola as candidates to replace Ange Postecoglou should he be dismissed. We talked about Iraola. Iraola, once again, he's going to looks like he's going to snub, and this is what we've reported from our friends at the Telegraph. Cherries are looking to play European football, and they want to keep Iraola. And also, Sevilla and former Sevilla and Argentina manager Jorge Sampaoli is in talks to become the new manager of Neymar's Santos. That is your gossip, rumor, and innuendo on the day. All right, so what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Remember, everything involving Open Cup has shifted to Paramount Plus in some manner, way, shape, or form. It's either Paramount Plus, Golazo Network, CBS Sports Network. But if you have Paramount Plus, you can get it all, and then you can figure out your path to viewing from there. It is Open Cup third round on CBS Sports Network, by the way. It is the Sacramento Republic El Farolito match at 10 o'clock. Premier League, midweek, Newcastle and Crystal Palace. This is the match in hand that we've been talking about with Newcastle. They get to pair up with Crystal Palace at 2:30. It's on USA. It's on Universo. Champions League, Real Madrid and Arsenal is at 3 o'clock. Liga MX doubleheader, Monterrey America, Pumas, and Santos Laguna, 9 and 11:05. Univision has Real Madrid and Arsenal at 3. Liga MX and Monterrey and Club America at 9. Golazo Network has your doubleheader. FC Naples and Tampa Bay Rowdies at 7, followed by New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive at 9:30. NBCSports.com simulcasting Newcastle and Crystal Palace. Paramount Plus has both of your Champions League matches. Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid and Arsenal. We'll go through the juice boxes in a sec. Plus, all of the starts of the 8 matches in the third round of the Open Cup. Remember, Detroit City and Westchester's at 7, as is Naples and Tampa Bay Rowdies. Indy 11, the Miami FC's at 7:30. FC Tulsa Phoenix Rising is at 8. Switchbacks and One Knox is at 9. New Mexico United, El Paso Locomotive, 9:30. Sac Republic, El Farolito is at 10. Vegas Lights and Chattanooga Red Wolves are the caboose at 10:30. So basically, 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, all of your Open Cup After Dark is staggered in half-hour increments. VIX has 4 matches tonight in Liga MX. Querétaro and Atlas. Atlético San Luis and Toluca is at 9. Mazatlan Tijuana is at 11. And Pumas and Santos Laguna is at 11:05. Generation Adidas Cup is going on right now. It is Nashville and LA Galaxy on the MLS's YouTube channel. At 10 o'clock, at 10 a.m. is when it started. At noon, the round of 16, Portland Timbers and Genk. U18's round of 16s kick off at 4:30. On the women's side, DAZN USA has Spanish Primera División Femenina, Barcelona and Sevilla at 1. Canadian Northern Super League. Welcome to the Canadian Northern Super League. We probably should catch up with them and find out how things are. Vancouver Rise and Calgary Wild at 10 o'clock. Peacock has Lexington and Spokane in the USL Super League at 6. And Girls Academy Red and Manchester City in the Generation Adidas Cup is at 2 o'clock on the MLS YouTube channel. So it has been, once again, it has been the standard adventure of everything going on here on a Wall Pass Wednesday. And thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to Tyler for dropping in. And as we all went over Open Cup After Dark. Juice boxes, by the way, for Champions League on the match today only. Bayern a plus 152 at Inter, who's a plus 165. 90-minute draws a plus 268. Real Madrid is a minus 125 hosting Arsenal. Arsenal is a plus 313. And your 90-minute draw is a plus 300. 100. Remember, 55 minutes from now, we're going to go Soccer's in Session, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Aaron Paul, head coach at Morgan County, is going to join us. We'll go through all the brackets. We'll go through all of the matchups. Friend, what happened yesterday, get you ready for today. And once again, tomorrow, Southeast Whitfield and Dalton. Jason will be up at Chapel Harmon for that one. And Friday, Maddie and I will be down in Peachtree City for McIntosh and Stars Mill for the Battle of the Troops. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us and putting up with all of my non sequiturs. And there seemed to be more of them today just because Tyler was triggering me. I blame him. Thanks to Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes. Be sure to watch them tonight as they bring Dax McCarty to the table. And Dax will let you know what he's thinking about Atlanta United from his time. Currently wearing a blazer and tennis shoes for Apple TV on MLS 360 with our buddy Kevin Egan. So that is the show. Thanks for coming in once again. Back at it at the top of the hour where we're talking high school. Then back at it after that. Tomorrow at 9:05, we'll go through basically the Open Cup watch-along starting at 9:15. Then the Power Hour at 10 and 10:30 with Nino and Nico to get you ready for your Thursday before Jason does Southeast Whitfield and Dalton up at Chapel Harmon. That's the show. Once again, mucho platial, play it safe. David, thank you for very much, and thanks for all your kind words as we traverse through everything going on in high school and everything that we do here on the network. Back at it again in a little less than an hour. Then back at it after that tomorrow morning, 9:05. Since it's the end of the show, mucho platiel, play it safe. It means I get to do this. See you in a bit.